And okay, well, hey everyone, it is 3 o'clock Monday of April. So happy April and congratulations on a great month of March. We're here for our executive director and above call, and really looking forward to this one today, just so we can, especially in a little more intimate group, be able to hopefully provide some info for you for what over the next month or so. And then also just to kind of take a breath from what's been happening, the trends in the business, and how can we best show up and navigate it all, because our own personal navigation is so much of it. So Lucy, congratulations for becoming a regional director. Do you want to come
Thank
on
you.
for a second?
Thank
I
you
know
so much.
we wanted to celebrate you and Rebecca tonight on the call, but I know that she's out on vacation and you weren't sure if you could be on, but would love just to share with us just for a minute about, helping somebody raise to the new rank of ED and what that did for you and for her.
Well, I think first of all, she was so passionate from day one. And I think that really helped in terms of the energy. We talk a lot. She and I, we have our weekly coach time, but if we need to set up a second one, she does that. She asks a lot of questions. I think we just were joined at the hip, honestly, from the time that she became a coach. And I think that made the difference. She was a sponge. She was on every single training that she could be on. The Saturday Launch to Global. She followed everything that they were doing, and she was like, it works. And I think it really helped her being in the medical field as well, being able to speak to that from a professional viewpoint as she's talking with her prospective clients and whatnot. And I just knew she was gonna, I knew actually last month that she was gonna be executive director. She didn't think she would. I'm like, you're there, you're there. Just keep doing what you're doing and everything will fall into place. And it did.
That's so exciting. Your smile says it all,
Thank
And
you.
I think that it really shows, I think sometimes we get so frustrated, right? We're like, gosh, they let me show up on trainings and they're not, and if only, but the right people, like the cream always rises to the top, right? And there are people that are going to do it with or without you, people that will do it with you. And then some people, no matter how much talent they have, what a huge opportunity is for them in their personal life, for whatever reason, it's just not going to be. So it's fun when that happens, right? That it aligned well, that it fit a need for her. She's excited about it, etc. So
she really, she challenged me. At this last month, I'm sitting there asking, I'm like, what are you saying to get so many people so quickly? And I love that, because I think for me and her, it was never this competition or anything. It was like we were just moving in tandem. And it really just pushed me and encouraged me to do more as well.
I love that. Yeah. Sometimes I think there's a phrase for it's called like lighting a fire in the basement, and it's like gets everybody moving, right? When somebody under there is on fire and whatever, just there's a shot of energy that happens from it. And the fact that you guys had a good relationship where it wasn't competitive, but it was kind of a win-win. Like, like, what are you doing? I want some of that, so beautiful, beautiful. And that's the fun thing. The past couple of months have been cyclical, and we're going to go in a little bit more about that, but there's been a lot of evidence of growth too. And so congratulations. We're going to do a big celebration tonight. We always do on the first Monday night on the call tonight. So we got a great video, but we really wanted to make a big deal about the client support bonus. And wasn't it fun to see like everybody, people getting that, like to see your peers, like, wow, people are helping new people, et cetera. So hopefully that's, it's intended to be motivational, right? Friendly competition cetera, right? And if you do get in your head about it, or if it makes you feel bad, that's really a conversation to have with your mentor. But hopefully the win-win, there were a lot of people that were like, gosh, I'm 2, and they might have given up, but because they saw so many had 3, they were willing to push a little harder. But Jennifer, maybe you can come off mute for a second, because Jennifer's just been over there doing her thing, climbing her way up into the 10K club. So you want to share a little bit? I know you said that everything was just kind of a God thing for you, but would love just to hear what's working over in your world.
Yeah, I wish I could tell you guys, like, there are 3 things and this is what I did, this is what happened, but it was like crazy. It was a God thing. I don't know if you're a believer, but I am. I pray over my business a lot. And honestly, in March, I just did the things, right? But I do it every month. I do the things. And so I think it's just a testimony to consistency, if I'm being honest. But 3 days before March was going to end, I was at my highest FQV I'd ever been, and I was about 700 away from the 10,000 club. And I texted my coach Andy in a group text and was like, look, I know where I am. Like, in case you girls are going to tell me like 2 days before, 1 day before, like, I know where I am, but I don't know what else to do. Like, I've done all the things. And so it just is what it is. And Dee was so sweet. I mean, they were both sweet, but Dee was so sweet because she's like, let's just celebrate that you have the highest FQV you've ever had. Like, right? I mean, it's okay if you don't make the 10,000 club. Let's just celebrate what you've done. But the next morning I got up and I prayed over my business, and I was very specific. And I was like, okay, God, if you want me to do this, please reveal to me who I've missed, right? Because I'd already reached in March. I didn't want to do like a double reach in the same month. So I was like, please reveal to me who I've missed. Please let somebody comment on something that I don't know has been watching. Give me a good Optavia lead, like do something to get me there. And anyway, I got an Optavia lead, and then a client who's in maintenance who just orders like throughout the year here and there. We didn't talk at all. She just placed an order, and then I was like $105 short, and I was like, I am doing this. So I was going to put a sale out to like my clients in April, like if you order in March, I'll give you something, but I never even had to, because like 2 hours after that, a client who had ordered the week before on her premiere just placed an order for like $150 extra. I'm telling you, it was a God thing. And then there it was, 10,000. So, I'll leave you with this though. March was our spring break in Florida. So I was out of town 6 days in March. During that time, I only worked twice. It was on Tuesday. I sent the newsletter, which took like 5 minutes. And I always do a Transformational Tuesday post on Facebook, and I posted that. And outside of that, I worked nothing in 6 days. And then last week, my brother had an eye stroke, which was super scary. And he was admitted into Mayo, and I was with him most of the week. So basically for 2 weeks out of the month, I didn't even really work. And still look what happened, right? Which I just think is beautiful to say, like, this business can be done in nooks and crannies of vacation and when you're in a hospital room. And anyway, it was a lot. And it's really beautiful testimony to just being consistent.
Wow. We didn't even discuss what you were going to say before, but that's going to tee up to what something Lori Cole's going to share on in a bit. But yeah, and like you said, even on vacation, right? Like you could have completely checked out, but you thought, let me do these 2 quick things. I always do them, right? They have impact, and bam, there it is. And hopefully your brother is okay from
yeah, thanks.
From that.
It's scary right now, but thank you. So
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing, being vulnerable about that. So we will get to that in a minute. And, but some I know didn't have the month that you thought, right? Raise your blink. Maybe your volume dropped or something. And you know what, I feel it too. The one thing that I know in this business is what we've talked about is just being real clear on your values, why you do this, why it's important to you. But straight up, I'll tell you, probably first time, probably in 8 years, I didn't make 10K club. It felt weird. And then I was like, should I try to force it? Like I've never been in, and I thought, does it really matter? No, I'm not going anywhere, right? The world's, like things don't collapse around. So sometimes we have goals, but we don't reach them, right? And everything at every level, right? Like my rank depends on other people achieving their ranks, right? And whether or not you have coaches on your team or not. Your level depends on clients, right? When clients are ready to do program, if they're ready to commit to it and stay with it, but what it isn't necessarily is a reflection that you're doing anything wrong or poorly. And I wanted to share this, and Lisa, you can jump in if you want, and Gina, because you guys were at the event, but I thought this was pretty powerful. This was from the transformational leadership development program that the Helen Irwin had put a program together for us. And I just lost you guys. Hold on. Can you guys see my screen? Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this over here on the right is called the iceberg, right? And with anything and anybody, what you see is just the top of what's happening, right? So whether this is your client, what they say and they do, right? Like let's just say their client, their behaviors, whether or not they're sharing or following their program. What's underneath is all the other things, right? And so when you look at this for your business, this is what we talked about on one of the team calls, really getting clear on your purpose, right? Why are you doing that? That your kind of clarity on that is going to matter. How you see yourself, right? If you're trying to grow your business, sometimes people can't see themselves as a leader. So even though they say they want it, underneath there's some self-limiting, or identity issues that we have going on. Your values, right? If you're feeling like I can't take on more work because I don't want to compete with my family, right? Like all this stuff could be going on under the surface and what you think you're capable of. And that's all going to translate into your behavior. So most of the time, it's our story. It's what's going on in our mind that is impacting the way that we are reacting to what's actually happening, right? Is the story that we attach to it. And one of the things that I really love, if you look over on the left, is that Helen has this arrow, and it's called a personal gravity. And the things that hold us back are the things from our past, right? Things that somebody, your third grade teacher said something to you, and it's stuck or whatever. And then what we start letting in is these new ideas, et cetera, is what leads us to our future. But I love her quote, and she says, the person with the most flexibility in thinking and behavior stands the best chance of success. And the more responsibility we take for how we think and feel, the more power we have to create the results that we want. So much about emotional intelligence, right? And that's why we always talk about our businesses and personal growth. I know this is just real spontaneous, but Lisa or Gina, I didn't know if you wanted to jump in maybe, because I know that weekend was pretty powerful.
I actually just pulled out my notes. I've been carrying them around with me, so osmosis. And I, there was just so much there, and so much of things that we've heard before, right? All this personal development stuff, it just sort of cycles through, and people say it in a different way, or it hits you in a different way. And I think, one of the things I wrote down is nothing outside of you can give you power. And it's so true in this season where whether we're getting the business we want or we're not getting the business we want, right? We have to remember we are still the same person. We're still the same person that built that business that we've got. We have worth and power within ourselves, and don't let anything outside of us give us power. That was, one of the things that stood out to me. So
yeah,
I know Gina's pulling out her notes right now.
I am. I wrote down furiously for 2 days. But one of the things that I always go back to when I review my notes is there someone else in your head, or are you in your heart? And I really think that goes back to what are we listening to versus who we are and how we want to be, and how like Dee, you said, you're in it for the long haul. When you figure out and truly understand why you're doing this, you stop listening to whatever voice is in your head, because you know what you're capable of, and you know what you want, and you know what's in your heart, and your heart is for whether it's for your clients or for your family or whatever. And I always go back to that, and I think of that too when I'm talking with clients who are getting that loop. How do we get out of there?
Yeah. And so often it's that, I love that what you said in the comments, Suzanne, you know, what story are you entertaining, right? Like, what are you letting in? And that we all do it. I think the more we can become aware of that, that's what says the more flexibility we have, the better, right? And also willing to accept that, you know what, setbacks are part of the process. It just is, right? It's never a straight line. So I want, Lori's going to share in just a minute, but I wanted to share this. You guys know who Ed Sheeran is, the musician Ed Sheeran. So it was on Instagram, but it was great. I'm gonna see if hopefully pull it up. It's 30 seconds. And then have Lori share about something that we both listened to that was pretty powerful. But let me see if I can share this for 1 second. Sorry, that's not it. That's not it. It'll come on in just a second.
Success, basically. You earn everything from failure. The reason I am where I am now is because I've constantly failed and I've constantly learned how to not fail next time. If you just continually go like this for the whole of your career, eventually there's a crash. If you're sort of going like this and you're making your way and you learn more and more and more. And I think that nowadays, because it's social media and because everything's week one orientated and everything's like chart position orientated, people are scared to fail, but to learn how to succeed, you have to fail.
So super short, you know, he's talking about music, right? But in our business, rank related comparisons, et cetera, like we tend to think if we step back that that's not a good thing, right? But it's usually what happens during that process. What we learn is how we continue to grow and get better. But Lori, I want to turn it over to you.
Yeah, absolutely. So last week I listened to this podcast. It's Kristen Boss, and she just released one called The Power of Consistency. And, you know, being in this business now for 7 years, first of all, it's been harder than I thought it ever would. And it's been also better than I thought it ever could have been. So when we think about consistency, we think about it's like practice. So we keep showing up and we keep doing. It's like if you want to learn how to shoot a free throw, you don't go out there once and go, well, that didn't work. I guess I'm not a good free throw shooter. But instead, you practice and practice. And I think one of the things that I've learned is about exactly what you guys are talking about, the stories in our head. But a big realization for me is that my lack of consistency is often why I don't see my growth. I get scared, I get in my head, I start thinking things, and I start telling myself a story. So today we're going to talk a little bit about that. But, you know, when I think about why I'm not consistent, you know, what am I thinking? The economy is bad. I guess no one wants what we're doing. Or even the bigger one is I don't feel like it. I don't feel like it today. And what happens in that I don't feel like it is I'm giving myself permission to break the trust that I had with myself about building the business. And I think that my business has been grown. Like if you could say 80% of the days Lori Cole doesn't feel like it. I don't feel like going to LinkedIn and posting. I don't feel like that. But my business has grown in the 80% days where I'm like, I don't feel like it. But what can I do? I can show up for one LinkedIn post. I can show up for one Facebook post and a couple of stories. And it's the energy about that. That's what our business is built on. So in Kristen Boss's podcast, she talked about trust in 2 areas. And the first is a breach of trust with our audience. And it's kind of like this, like the algorithms, like I took that social media course from Habit Finders, and in the algorithms, you learn that you have to post 5 days a week for them to kind of take you seriously and start weaving you into other people's feeds. So if we showed up only when we felt like it, we wouldn't be seen by anyone, nor would we see anyone. So we have to remember that, how many people have you seen that all of a sudden you're like, oh, they still doing that because they haven't shown up for 6 months. So I think it's important that we consider how we show up and how often. And there's like this cycle with me. I am a perfectionist, and I was raised that way, and I struggle with this quality versus quantity. And when I was even doing like a Facebook story, I write down what I want to say. I think about how I want to say it, like when I'm going live. I'm going 3, 2, my hands are sweating. Like there's a problem with it being perfect. And sometimes just showing up is enough. I think that I can get in my head with that. Like if I'm not perfect, then I can't do it. So I don't have the quantity. So how can I have quality if I haven't practiced the free throw? How many times in Michael Jordan, you've heard it. So we have to practice our free throw and then our quality. Have you ever gone back to your Facebook, like when Facebook was new, like whatever year that was, 2008 or 9, and you're like, who was that? What was I? I didn't even have a subject in that sentence. Like, I think it was like, what are you thinking about? Feeling good, or whatever you thought. And you're like, why would I even post that? That's so weird. I don't know if that's just me. But that's where it comes from. It's like we have to learn, we have to have the quantity before our quality can be shaped up. So, the message I want people to see on social media is not, oh, she shows up sometimes, because I think that's the message. Well, will I show up sometimes as a coach, or will I be consistent in showing up? And then the second place that we can have breach of trust is breach of trust with ourselves. When we slow down or we don't show up, what we're saying is what I'm doing really doesn't matter to me, or I'm giving myself excuse not to chase what really matters. And of course, there are times that it's hard. But what's the story? Like there's an underlying story that I'm telling myself, well, I'm not a leader. My frontline volume dropped. The economy stinks. It's too expensive. I can't show up perfectly. So I must not be a good leader. I don't know what to say. And so when we think about it, like the challenge that she gave was, if I'm not showing up in my business or in some area, it doesn't have to be social media, what am I believing? And to sit in that for a moment and really discover what we're believing about that. One of the interesting things she said was our brain, we know this from science, but our brain doesn't want us to feel discomfort. So if we're like, okay, do you want to post today or do a Facebook Live? No, that's uncomfortable and scary. I don't want to do that. Well, let's wait till tomorrow. Okay, that's a great idea, because tomorrow I will have everything all together. And then tomorrow we go through the same feelings and it doesn't get easier. And as a matter of fact, we compound the difficulty because we're losing trust with our audience anyway. And then we're losing trust with ourselves because we're struggling with following through. So consistency is continuing to show up again and again and again and differently. It's like when I taught 7th grade, I would teach nouns. It's a person, place, thing, or idea. And then I would have a song over here and I would play a video over there and I would make everyone go touch a noun. I'm teaching the same concept, but I am showing up differently. And that's kind of our challenge with consistency. How can we keep saying it again until it resonates, it sticks with someone new? So I encourage you to lean into your mentor. I met with Dee and I said, Dee, I'm struggling. I haven't made I've had 3 clients reactivate, but it wasn't the time frame. And I want, like I was that person. And one of the things I will tell you is, I have begged Dee from time to time through these 7 years, please don't stop believing in me. And as mentor coaches, that's what your mentor is there for, to be vulnerable and say, I need somebody. I don't believe in me right now. Can you believe in me? Do you have that space? And fortunately, Dee always shows up in that. A couple of things. If like for a while I was doing health assessment after health assessment after health assessment, it was like 1,000 no's and then one client. So the question then became, what's my energy about this? What am I not saying? Like, I know it's expensive, or whatever my energy might be. I know it's expensive, but I think that, and when we lead with that energy, of course they're going to go, yeah, that's expensive. Or if we have confidence in this gift that we have, and it's an awesome one. And so sometimes it's just like going through some verbiage or exploring what we're scared of. And another example is Coach Explorer. So you talk to people about coaching. So I know you work full time and have 3 kids. Don't you want something else to do? And people are like, no, I really don't want something else to do. But when we can have a compelling, not argument, but approach, because they need that, there's a need in their life, and how coaching can be so beneficial to a young mom who just wants to stay home with those kids during the summer, then that's where, we think about what is our energy toward presenting. I just encourage us all, and me too. Like when Dee asked me to speak about this, I was like, who needs to hear this more? The teacher or the student? It's me. It's me. It's me 1,000 times. But it's consistency. It's quantity and then quality. It goes to show that I have a long-term goal with my business. I'm not here for a minute. I'm not here when it's easy. I'm here. I'm just here. And one of the things that it reminded me of, Dee, I don't know if you remember this, but in 2021, y'all, my organization, we could not keep up with how many people, and yours probably the same if you were here. People were like, I want in, I want in, what does it take? And I was doing all these crazy things. I was working long hours, but there was this dopamine boost. Like, I have this many clients this month. And Dee cautioned me. She was like, this adrenaline rush is here, and your goal, where are your goals in this? And when things started slacking off again, I was like, oh no, nobody wants the business now, because I wasn't getting that adrenaline rush that I was feeling. And so I think we had some really important conversations on what my real goals were in that moment. So catch yourself. Are you living for the wins? Because in this business, I hope the wins come to you every day. But for me personally, they don't come to me every day, but I'm sowing the seeds every day out of consistency. But when the wins come, I like them, but we're not hanging on for the wins or a paycheck, because the things we do today may not equal money in the bank yet. So I guess one of the things that I wanted to leave you with, this is so profound, and this is the question. Why is it important to me to be a person who shows up for myself every day? And that's a really important question, because the struggle makes us qualified. And a lot of times we think that the struggle disqualifies us. But it's actually the hard times that make us qualified to lead and to love and to learn to sit with other people. If you were a client on program and you were struggling getting into that fat burn, your client's like, oh, I got a headache. If you're like, yeah, don't know what that feels like. I just zoomed right in, no big deal. It was just not a thing for me. I mean, it's not relatable. So I want to encourage all of us, and me included, that the struggle that we're feeling actually qualifies us for the bigger things. So anyway, it was a great podcast, Dee. I hope that I did it justice, because it's phenomenal. Kristen Boss, and it's the second to the newest one. It's about I think it's called The Power of Consistency. So thank you so much.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. And the one that got me the most, and she said at the very end, was exactly what Lori ended with, was it is the struggle, is in that failure, the weakness, whatever you want to describe it, that actually qualifies you. And, just like everybody here, I mean, I have my own self-doubts. I get in my head. Sometimes I'm like, I have no right to be a leader, but then I realize like, okay, it's within this that I can understand where other people are, or it's something that I need to learn before I can go further. So before we jump into anything else, really love this to be interactive. And if could probably have time for 2, maybe 3 people to come off mute. Was there something in particular that Lori shared or that we've talked about or that you've been thinking or feeling that we could maybe all benefit from as a group by you sharing?
I will. Lori, when you're talking about showing up, I think sometimes we feel like showing up means we have to sit at our desk all day long, every day, and make connections and work our business. But it's really not. That's what burns us out. That's not why we're doing this. But showing up in our health, showing up in ways that make us attractive to others, that we're happy, we're joyous, we feel good, we love this, we're working on ourselves, we're doing the things, the growth that we need to keep going, even if it's 5 minutes. That's showing up, and letting people see you in action, walking your dog or working out or whatever it is. The more they see you, the more they realize, oh, there's something to this.
Yeah.
So,
I think that you said it so well when we think that we just have to sit at our desk and grind, and it's not about, there's that quality versus quantity thing, right? It's not about the quantity. And I think if you were really honest with yourself, if you really are just sitting at your desk and staring at the computer, hoping that somebody jumps out at it, it's probably not going to happen. But the reality is most times we're getting distracted. We are, we're surfing the net, we're doing all these things and telling ourselves that we're working so hard on our business. But the reality is most times we're up in our head more than we're actually doing productive activities, just thinking about what we should or shouldn't be doing. So thank you for that, Gina. Michelle, you've got your hand raised. Let me try to unmute you if you want.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, I'm driving and I can't find the buttons. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Dee? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I just thought that was really great because, what I've been finding, I'm the person who sits at my computer and grinds it out every day, right? And trying to make connections and doing all the things. And I found that actually when I get out into my community and serve and have fun, and like I just on Saturday helped with a spaghetti dinner as a fundraiser, and just make connections and get to know people. And then the energy is so much different when you do show up. You know what I mean? It's just, I'm having fun. Right now I'm getting ready to go down to Augusta to do something else for the Pregnancy Care Center. And, it's just living life and not sitting behind my computer the entire time. That is what's attractive. And now I've got 2 people more than likely going to come on as coaches this month, and and just for the business, not even it's just like stuff starts happening because your energy changes, and then you're doing life in a different way and having fun and doing what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So it's cool. I just love it. I love looking at it from a different perspective.
Yeah, it's amazing when you freed up yourself, right? Well, let me go start doing these other things, right? And you freed it up, your mind, your space. Oh, wow. Isn't that interesting? People start showing up. So
yeah, it's
very
true.
good. Very good. Okay, Connie.
Yeah, this was really powerful because I sit here and say I don't feel like it. And that's a thought. That's a belief. And what's underneath there are all of those fears. Because what I'm really feeling is afraid, or that, and so it's mastering our thoughts, my thoughts and emotions. And and so thank you for that. When I sit there and go, God, I don't feel like it today, I'm going to ask myself, what are you really feeling? Okay, and then take the contrary action to move that energy is all it really takes. How do you change a feeling? You move a muscle. You get up and like we did when we stood up and danced the other day, remember?
Yep.
And it brought the joy and the energy up. And I've been doing that. So those two little things from the past couple of calls, I think will bring more energy to shift the mindset.
Yeah. Well, you're so right. And when we say what is it that helps us work through fear? Action, right? But there's a story attached, right? I don't feel like it. But it's masking what's really going
Yeah,
on.
because
So there's that emotional intelligence.
Yeah, that's a thought process. I don't feel like it. There's no feeling and like it.
Right. Yeah. I know when I worked in the corporate world, a lot of times I didn't feel like going to work, but you do, right? Yeah. Thank you. Suzanne.
So I have to say, you guys know Michelle's my coach, but so she's like the workhorse, and I tell her that, like, she's the workhorse, but I'm the other side of the rainbow. And so like my struggle is, okay, I'm in the community, I'm doing the fundraisers, I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and I'm going to do this whole caregiving retreat thing, and I'm doing this brain injury thing. Like, my life is busy doing a lot of good stuff in the community. So my struggle is because I don't have the time to sit down on my computer for 6, 7, 8 hours. I like throw the towel in. I know I'm a leader. I'm already leading. So, that's not the lie I tell myself. The lie that I tell myself is because I can't give it 100% and I can't plug in like Michelle. And I love Michelle and she challenges me in a lot of ways. Then what am I doing in health coaching? Like, why am I doing this? So nooks and crannies for me was that reminder that I don't need 8 hours. I'm already on Facebook. I'm already doing the lives. I'm already I'm in there, I'm on there 7 days a week. I'm a Facebooker. I'm learning things, TikTok and Reels and different things, which will help. But I got to stop telling myself, because I can't sit down on the computer for 4 hours, that it's not for me, because it is for me and I love it. And Lucy, when you hit RD, I was like, I can do this. I can do this. So that just was like, you know what? Get back into those meetings. It's not all or nothing. It is all these little pieces here and there. I love you guys. I love this community. I am totally blessed to be a part of it. I really am.
That's so good. What a great reminder, right? To get rid of that systemic thinking, all or nothing. Well, if I can't do it on my own, I might as well not bother. But I remember from us talking at Awaken, I mean, you've got big reasons why you want to do this. And so finding those nooks and crannies and the way to do it. You guys, you want me to tell you my biggest secret, how I made it to IPD? You want me to share the big secret? Big epiphany, right? That was brought to me. I thought that I had to look a certain way, do it a certain way, work a certain amount of hours, do it like that person does it, have that kind of people on my team, have a team that looks like that. I need to be more fun. I need to dance better. I need to do, I thought all these things because I had my head spinning on what was going on around me. And what I learned, which is the truth, is, Optavia provides us this absolutely incredible vehicle, right? To be able to achieve our own dreams, which we can only get to because we help other people achieve what they want. So what I got to do is I got to lean, I consider it like a wall. And if you've ever read the book Today I Begin a New Life by Dave Blanchard, he talks about you reach a point that you just you're standing up tall on this ladder and you just see your obstacles. You still see where you're going. And what I realized was Optavia was the wall. And I'm leaning my ladder against the wall. It's what I'm using to grow in this world, just the way somebody else has got their ladder leaned and somebody else. And so we've got 22 people on this. We can all lean our ladder up against the wall and be ourselves and grow the business that we want, right? And so my team looks different than somebody else's team. Your team might look different than somebody else, even within our own organization. And so what? Right? So that's the coolest thing. So some people spend a lot of hours doing this. I know global directors that spend 15 hours a week on their business, right? It's just, they're good at it and that's what they do. So I hope that helps a little bit with perspective of what it really takes, really being yourself. And, you got to work no matter what, you got to be consistent no matter what, but it doesn't have to necessarily look like somebody else's, the way they do it. So I want Lucy to share and then Julie real quick, and then we'll finish up with a couple fun things.
Okay, I'll make it really quick. I wanted to touch a little bit on what Lori was saying about the last part about our challenges, because in this month of going regional director and partnering with Rebecca, it has been the most challenging. But I will tell you, and I know Mandy's not on camera, but one of the things that I do almost every day is I go to her page, because I know that she's in a fight right now. And I'm personally going through something with my mom. And I would stop on days, there have been many days where I felt like I don't want to do anything. I don't want to even get out of bed. And I make a decision to do one thing. Sometimes I don't post until like 9, 10 o'clock at night because I'm so emotionally drained, but I do at least one thing every day. And that's helped me, because in the challenges, working my business has honestly been a joy, has been a distraction. So it gives me a way to step back out of all the yuck that's going on around me, to be able to focus on something that can inspire and help somebody else. And I'll tell you, I've talked with more people, CNAs and nursing have done actually more health assessments in the month of the month of March, than I've done in a long time, because I'm just talking to people and where I'm just, trying to plant seeds where I am. And it's really just helped me to just, like I said, have that distraction. Not that the business is a distraction, it is, but it's a great distraction.
Right. But you could have had every reason, right? It's how we choose to view it, right? Same with Mandy. And we see you, Mandy, even though you're not on camera. And that's commitment, right? And consistency. You could have had every reason to say, you know what? I can't do this right now. Right? We hear that sometimes, but that's the difference between in this, you know what I mean? It's showing up, right? And it might not look like the way you typically do it. And the post might be at 9:30 at night, but you showed up. And so that's beautiful. Beautiful. All right, one more. So Julie, I lost you. Where'd you go? Julie Apple?
Yeah.
There
Can
she
y'all
is.
hear me?
Yeah.
So I'm really glad we're doing this topic, because February and March have been like an emotional roller coaster for me too. And I would say I'm probably like consistent crazy queen. I mean, that's like, I don't know a different way to be than to just keep doing it. But I texted Dee last Monday, because I keep sharing on social media and I have not had anybody reach out like in a private message and say, hey, I'd love to talk to you more. I haven't had that happen in probably 2 to 3 months. I used to have that happen maybe weekly. So I texted Dee Monday and I was like, I cannot believe I actually had somebody reach out to me that wants to talk. And it was just like, I guess you guys probably all feel the same way, but it was like, oh, it's worth doing this. Like, there are still people that need help. And so I think we all can get really discouraged. And it's like, why do I keep doing this? I'm not getting the results I used to get. Isn't this like insanity? But there are people that want help. So it encouraged me a lot. And there's a quote, I can't find it right now, but I'll post it in our group, because it was something I saw last night. Like, maybe it's not like what we're doing that's sparking, maybe we need to do something that actually like lights our soul on fire. It encouraged me just to make sure we're doing, because we do have flexibility with our business. So if the daily grind is getting to you, maybe we need to like shift a little bit and do more of the things that light us up. So
yeah,
that's what I've been realizing.
Yeah. So good. So good. Yeah. For the longest time, I didn't tell Julie that some people were struggling in the business. Julie was over there growing like crazy. And so it's just something, I forget what it was, but somebody had asked her, like, how's your business doing? And this was before the 2-month kind of roller coaster. And she was like, she's fine. And then when she dropped, you were like, okay, I'm not used to this.
I was like, Dee, help, what's going on?
We're like, oh, we've been here for months. Welcome. Yeah.
I understand, but that's what we get, right? And then you learn and you can help other people. So help your team.
Yeah. And you know what? I mean, I'm so proud of every one of us on this call. I'm so proud of the company we partner with. Nick Johnson, we're doing FIBL meetings, and you know what? They get it, right? And they're in there with us. And Dr. A always talks about the buffalo or the bison, like they run into the storm, right? Where is it like when there's cows or whatever, they lay down or they run the other way, right? And the way that we just keep going. And I think more than ever, I think Lori and I were talking earlier, or Stacy and I were talking, and more than ever is the time to be out speaking and what it is that we do that is so different. Nobody's offering what we offer. you know, about the behavioral change or whatever. People are short selling themselves, maybe going to Skinny Box or Ozempic or whatever. They're looking for shortcuts, but shortcuts never last. So like Julie said, keep showing up consistently and waving the flag on what we do and what we do so well. And the right people come, they will. So, so very, very good. Well, a couple fun things that are coming, just because between now and when we talk again, a lot will have happened. So congratulations to everybody who's coming to Launch to Global. We are finalizing, I'm actually signing the contract today for our team time on Friday evening. It's gonna be a couple doors down from the hotel, but it'll be a dinner event. So we'll put that out in terms of what the registration and buying your ticket and all of that. We're also in the works for convention, and to let you know, convention registration opens on, I have it written down here. I want to say April 12th. Convention registration opens Wednesday, April 12th. It's going to be early registration for 2 weeks, April 12th to April 30th. $225 is the registration fee, early bird, $250 per person after that. So just want to brace you so that you'll be prepared to register right away. They'll release hotel information and then be working with your team, encouraging them, you know, to be registering for that. And the qualifications are out for the FIBIC party, which we still have time. So if you have to qualify 2 out of 3 months, March, April, and May as FIBIC. There's a fun party on the Wednesday night of convention. And then something to put your sights on for the fall, official Optavia event will be the advanced leadership training. It's going to be in Orlando, Florida for national directors and above. And that is IND and above, integrated national. And that is qualify 3 of 6 months between April and September. So what you don't know is just like right now is who may join your team, right? Like if you might be sitting there now saying, well, I'm so far off from being an integrated national, but what you don't know between now and the next few months is who are you going to bring on as coaches? We're going to talk about sponsoring tonight, and who might be your runner, right? Who might be the one that helps take you to the next level. So I always say, don't ever discount, you know, anything like that, your possibility. If it's something you're interested in, we can work together to try to make it happen. Lastly, the last thing is we have been piloting. One thing I know as a leader, my strengths are 100% in transformational. The area where I need more help is in the transactional, which is the back office, the numbers and things like that. So that's why I have partnered with Eddie Alvarenga, and he had made available to you guys the monthly reports. Want you to know that really, as an organization, my goal is not to swing the pendulum the other direction and be an all numbers organization, but there is a healthy balance right in the middle with it. And my goal is to find that healthy balance. What was really interesting over this past month was having that translation, especially for a lot of our newer coaches, having that translation into dollars and what it would actually mean to them if they achieved it. Or I know there's one coach on here who realized that if she got 5 more clients, it was another $1,000. And that makes a huge difference in their family. So that kind of data can make a difference for you as you're growing your business and your team as you're learning to grow. So if you want to participate, it is $10 a month with Eddie. If you haven't signed up yet, would encourage you to do so, or let's have a conversation. Going to be moving everybody who is participating into a different Facebook or different messenger thread for that. And as an advantage of having that, he has an income calculator for us that's only going to be available for those that have done the monthly. And that is really good for yourself to get an idea of what your income will be for the month, or if you added a coach or added if your coach became senior coach, like it is tremendous what's possible with that. So so that's what I got. Any final questions as we're wrapping up? I know everybody's ready to hop off. Okay, well, very good. Thank you guys to everybody who participated. Thank you, Lori, for preparing and sharing on consistency. Look forward to seeing you on tonight's call. Sean and I are going to be leading that on sponsoring. All right, see you guys. Bye.